I'm just really blessed that I got to go another. I'm not gonna cry.
That's why I have this.
That I got to go another year. Sorry. Just the people there, they have so little, and we don't realize it unless you go there. And so many people here, we have so much that we don't realize how much we actually have until you go there and on firsthand experience and see how much they don't have, but they do at the same time, if that makes sense. They don't have as many, like, concrete items as we do, but their optimism, happiness, and spirituality is just so much greater and stronger and more than we do here. It's just kind of hard, whenever you go there and see how they're living and how they get through. And apologies again. Yeah, so I'm not like the funny guy over there. I'm getting more emotional with this. Dad. Yeah, I got to go 2 nights because I did the great idea of not drinking enough water, got a little dehydrated there. Yeah, I'm good though. It's alright. Just kind of shook it off a little bit. But 2 nights I got the amazing opportunity to go on a prayer walk with a couple other people, and Donna and Tiga, one of the translators there, and a couple other teens. We all got to go around, and a couple of the people's houses there, like we'd go into their houses and it would just overwhelm you, not necessarily like, wow, look, like, are you kidding? Like, but they just seemed so happy with what they have, even though most of them were in a lot of pain or anything. You could just see that they were satisfied with what they have, and they're always gonna like to have more, and they're gonna work for having some more, but they have what they need, and they don't need to keep getting an abundance of stuff that's just kind of just piles up, and you don't really have a purpose for a lot of it, because we just kind of get it because it's cool, or because it's new. A lot of their things are just handed down to them, or it's just what they have, and they're thankful for it. Not saying I'm not thankful for all the unnecessary things that I have, but we would go into the houses. Some of them were pre-planned, that we wanted to hit a couple stops, but a lot of them were not. But we asked them if they would like prayer, and they'd just be like, yeah, absolutely, come on in, and they'd welcome us into their houses with open arms, and you don't see that here at all. Some of the people were really sick, and it was just kind of hard to see, because some of them couldn't get the help they needed, Sorry again. Yeah. One of the houses, the lady could barely get out of her room, and it was maybe only a couple of feet, from two different parts of the small home that she's living in, and she just moved a couple of feet and sat in the chair. We moved as close to the door as we could, which was basically on the door, and she sat there, and we prayed with her, And I felt like the Lord was telling me that I needed to give her something. So I gave her the money she needed for so she could go to the doctor and just see the doctor and get the medicine she needed. Because she just couldn't. She's explained to us how she would have gone in the morning and she had such a bad headache and she had a really, really high fever and her shoulders, and she just was in so much pain. But I just hope that even though to us it's such a small contribution, but that's difference between like life and death there. Yeah, and couple, once again, sorry, this is all like, whew. A couple of the other houses were pretty bad, most of them actually, if I'm honest. Yeah, but they would just open up their arms and welcome us in, and they'd be so thankful that we even came in, and prayed with them. Even if we didn't give them anything, even if we didn't give them some food, or any like concrete items, they were still so thankful, even just for prayer, and that was pretty great. Excuse me. Yeah. And there was some of the kids there at the orphanage, and you would go in, and at first it's kind of like, oh, look at all the kids, they're so cute, which was basically the whole time. I was definitely that girl that was gushing all over all the little kids. But and then me and the girl that I became really good friends with, Lindsay, we were talking on the side about if these kids know why they're there. I'm sure most of them have an idea, but it's they're not gonna know what it's like to have parents unless they're adopted, and right now they don't. That family, I just hope that we had enough of an impact on them to let them know that they have God and that we're going to be there for them if they need. This was me last year too, so if you were here last year, it's probably not as big of a surprise. Sorry. Yeah, but it took a little bit for some of the orphans to open up, but once they would just hug you and love you, and it was such gratitude that you're there, just even just singing some good old little children's songs. Yeah. It was just amazing to get to experience it, and yeah, on a happy note, there was a gecko in the room, and that was running around a bit. I stared at it for a good 10 minutes, even though it was just kind of standing there in the corner, and I was just kind of watching it, seeing where it'd go, make sure it didn't end up in my bed. I know John got a couple presents from a nice little rooster there. Yeah, but all together, just the fellowship and the people, and also I was talking to one of the guys there whenever we were just like in a big group, and then me, Lindsay, Megan was another girl I met there, and then this one man, we were all talking and about life in Haiti and the differences and similarities between living there and the problems and struggles there and in like America and North America. And there obviously are a lot of differences, but the similarities, because he was having problems with his kids, because he has a daughter in Port-au-Prince, and she's, I think, 7, I think he said, or 4. Yeah, that was kind of off, I don't know. He's pretty young. And he has a son that's 10 and lives in New York. And that he doesn't get to see his son. And these are just all problems that people have here. But we think that because they're so far away that they don't have like the same problems as us. And we're all like the same. We are. And we all have the same problems. We all have same struggles. But the thing that we all can have on a positive note is God, and God's everywhere, and he's here with us, and he's in Greene County. He's in the States, he's in Haiti, he's in the whole world, and he's just everywhere, and yeah, so it's a pretty good thing to keep in mind. You always want to be able to do more whenever you're there, but usually in a week we're pretty packed to do it. We have a certain schedule to stick with. So more of on our own time, we played wiffle ball with some of the kids in the just on the street there. And there was this one girl at the VBS, one of the days I did VBS. I met her there, and right away she was giving me a big hug, and I helped her with making the little bracelets that we made and her coloring sheet, and she wanted a flower, so I drew her a flower, and then the girl beside me on the left wanted a flower just like hers, so I drew her a flower. Then she wanted a flower in another spot, so I drew her one, and she wanted the same one, so I ended up just having like a whole garden on these girls' papers. And this girl, the next day, she saw me in the street and ran over to me. And I wasn't quite sure if it was her or not, so I just kind of looked at her for a second. I was like, is that her? And it was, so I gave her a big hug and then walked with her a little bit. Then she went on her way, and then the next day, we were walking down the street coming back from, I don't even know where we were coming back from, but we were going back to the compound, and there was some kids just kind of walking around playing on the side. Didn't think much of it. And then she comes out wearing still the same clothes and still smiling, and she comes over and grabs my hand, and I give her a big hug and carry her the rest of the way. And it's just like hard to leave them because you get like attached to them, and it's kind of like a part of you, I guess, if that doesn't sound crazy. Don't worry, I'm finishing up here. Yeah. And one of the little boys there, Grop, he was probably the cutest little boy that I've ever seen. He was a huge helper too at the compound and all that. And the last day, right whenever we were leaving, he gave us all big hugs. I got a couple pictures with him. He wanted to take some silly pictures, so we took some silly pictures. And then whenever I looked back, and a couple of us did, he was just back there bawling because we were all leaving. That was pretty sad. Because they're like, all the people you meet there, like family now, and you don't know when you're gonna see them next. Sorry again. Yeah, I just hope that I get to go back next year and the year after and hopefully many years to come. um, yeah, overall, it's a really great experience. I promise that you're not gonna be crying the whole time, which me and some of my friends there got into some pretty deep conversations at midnight, and we were all bawling at the little Wi-Fi spot while everybody's sleeping, and then we all kind of stop crying for a second whenever we hear one of the guys come out to go use the restroom. Because for us, well, for me, it was about 5 feet away. We have 2 inside the women's quarters, and they have one that's pretty far away. That's still closer to ours, but we just getting to know people there and making new friends and just experiences that will help you for a long time to come is just a good foundation throughout. I will say I got a little bit stronger. You can't really see it, but I can feel it. But just growing spiritually and everything's just, I'm just really glad I got to go again.